Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. The S&P 500 was down 0.1% today. The big news, of course, today was the Fed Reserve cut rates by 1/4 of 1%, exactly what was expected. But the bigger news was really kind of what went on behind the scenes. So September is an important month for the Federal Reserve to meet because they do their statement of economic projections and they do what's called the dot plot. And so if we start first with kind of the vote for the quarter point cut, it was 11-1 with just one member deciding that they wanted a half a point rate cut. And no surprise, it was the new member that Trump just assigned, Stephen Moran, who wanted a half a point cut. And so I find that very interesting. I think that's kind of disturbing to me in a way, in the sense that, it didn't have, maybe it was 9-3 or something, where there was a few more people that thought that was a good idea, because that basically looks very political and not based on kind of what we see happening in the economy. Could be right that a half point was the right way to go. We'll find out. But if you look at kind of the independence of the Federal Reserve, and you start to worry about that, because what's happening is over the next several months and next 12 months, you're going to have more Fed governors replaced. Fed chairman, board members replaced, and of course the Fed governor Powell is going to be replaced in May. And so we could have a situation where the Fed is thinking more along political lines, because the economy, at least from the gross domestic product standpoint, is doing well enough that you wouldn't want to lower the rates dramatically. The labor market is slowing down enough that you would want to lower it some. So I thought that was interesting. The second thing was they do what's called the dot plot. And so this is where board members, and there's, even the non-voting board members, all get to kind of guess where rates will be, at the next several meetings over the next couple of years. And the consensus was that there'd be two more rate cuts as far as that goes. However, if you look behind those numbers, there was 19 votes. 9 of those members decided that they should only be one rate cut or none. 9 said 2 rate cuts or more, in the case of Moran. And so really, Moran was the deciding vote on whether we were going to have 2 or not. Now, these are just projections. The dot plot was the most spread I've ever seen it. So yeah, Fed governors that think rates should be going up right now too. So it does show the complexity of the situation where, inflation is still chugging upward. As tariffs start to hit, it could get worse. And there's some concern that, maybe that's not a one-time thing. It could be more systematic, in terms of the inflation once it gets kind of ingrained. And so doing a quarter point cut makes some sense. Doing 1 or 2 more probably makes some sense also, although I think they are going to wait, for data to come through before they really decide. But I thought that was very interesting. It does kind of highlight this new person on the board and what's happening there, and maybe what might be happening in the future as far as the Federal Reserve goes. Maybe it'll be a good idea to lower rates dramatically. But I don't think, historically, it's a good idea to have the Fed doing so because of a political motive instead of, looking at the economy and reacting to that. That's one of the key pieces for the U.S. and for most of the big, economies that are out there, that the Federal Reserve, central banks kind of have this, separation from the political situation, just looking at what's happening to the economy and guiding. And investors like that, especially bond market investors. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But today, not surprised the market was down a little bit. It was right in line with everything. There was some hope. Maybe there was a half a point rate cut. So the market was up a little bit for that. And kind of yesterday came down a little bit, 0.13%, today 0.1. So, it's kind of settling in there, basically just, because the market delivered what was expected, the market kind of stayed where it was for all intents and purposes. So we'll see what happens going forward. But anyway, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We'll be doing another one of these daily videos, and look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much.